Good morning, girls, and welcome to our EVS 2 class with me, Miss Debbie. The last lesson that we did in EVS 2 was where Shivaji signs the peace treaty. And you know how important that was because the emperor was harassing his subjects, his people. Property, land, all was getting destructed, and Shivaji didn't want this. So he decided to sign the peace treaty with the emperor. So that was a treaty of Purandar. And then on Mirza Rajesh Jai Singh's force, or you could say convinced him to go and meet the emperor, Shivaji decides that okay, I shall now go and meet the emperor personally. So lesson number 13 is just about all that. How Shivaji goes to meet the emperor and is made a prisoner, and he gives the emperor a slip and escapes from there. So just let's learn more about this in this lesson that Shivaji gives slip to the emperor. Lesson number 13. Now, putting his trust in Mirza Raje Jai Singh, Shivaji left for Agra to visit the emperor. But before leaving for Agra, Shivaji handed over the administration of his Swaraj to his mother Jijabai and took her blessings and set off. With him were his son Sambhaji Raje, some chosen sardars, and a few trusted people. He also carried a large treasure, and in due course he reached Agra. Now Shivaji shows his spirit at the emperor's court. On a prearranged day, Shivaji Maharaj attended the emperor's darbar. Young Sambhaji Raje accompanied him, as it was Aurangzeb's 50th birthday. After finishing court in Diwan-e-Khas, the emperor entered the hall where matters of state were discussed. In front of him stood his chief sardars in serial ranks, according to their status. Jaswant Singh Rathod, whom the Marathas had put to fight on many occasions, was in the rank ahead of Shivaji. The emperor put Shivaji in one of the back rows. Shivaji became very angry. After all, he was the king of a sovereign state of Maharashtra, and his status demanded that he should be in the front rank. Now, this was a deliberate insult, which Shivaji would not suffer lying down. Angry and insulted, he turned his back on the royal presence and he made for his residence. That means he just left. He decided never to see the face of the emperor again. So you could say the visit was thus a failure, and the news of this incident spread everywhere, far and near. So you can imagine Shivaji leaving that court where the emperor is present with anger. Imagine the emperor's state. Yes, now we will learn the emperor's treachery, how he deceived, how he cheated Shivaji. This was all deliberately done by the emperor. So here is a picture of Shivaji Maharaj in the emperor's court. You can see Sambhaji right next to him. You can see the emperor on the high chair there. And the people in the court. And Shivaji deciding to leave. So now let's learn about the emperor's treasury. Aurangzeb ordered guards to be posted around Shivaji's residence, that means where he was staying. Shivaji Maharaj and Sambhaji Raje thus became for all practical purposes the emperor's prisoners. Shivaji understood the emperor's treachery, that he's cheating, he's deceived. He realized that the emperor would never let him return to Maharashtra. Days and weeks passed by. Then one day Shivaji Maharaj, he sent a petition to the emperor to grant him permission to return to Maharashtra. He tried again and again, but every time his request was turned down. Then Shivaji Maharaj made up his mind to escape from the emperor's clutches, come what may. So to begin with, first he obtained the emperor's permission to send back to south the persons, that is the loyal Sardars, who had accompanied him to Agra. So you see, Shivaji is not someone to sit quiet. He already formed a daring plan of how he would escape. The first step in his plan was to send his loyal Sardars back home, because Aurangzeb wanted him. So why should these Sardars suffer? So he requested permission from the emperor that at least you send these Sardars back. What have they done? You're keeping me, but at least send them back. This kind of a move, like a kind of a humble request to the emperor, made the emperor feel very happy, because he's thinking now Shivaji will be alone. Right? But this is all Shivaji's plan. And this is just the first step in his bold and daring plan. Let's see how he completes this plan of his, how he escapes from the emperor. The emperor was very happy. He thought that Shivaji Maharaj would now be completely alone, isolated. The only person left with him would be his son, who's a small boy, Sambhaji Raje, and his two servants, Hiroji Farjan and Madari Mehtar. Soon after this, Shivaji Maharaj pretended to be ill. He complained of severe pain in his stomach. Doctors were called. They started treating the patient. Shivaji started sending out huge baskets of sweets to the sadhus and the Maulvis for his quick recovery. This is the second point in his plan, where he decides to pretend to be sick, complaining of severe pain in his stomach. So naturally doctors were called and they couldn't find the reason for his pain, but he's still in so much pain. So he sends out huge baskets of fruits, sweets to all the sadhus and Maulvis who were close by, far away, so that they would all pray for his quick recovery and that he becomes all right. So you see Shivaji's plan unfolding step by step. Now we will see how he escapes from Agra. In the beginning, the guards outside would examine the baskets. In the course of time, they got tired of this daily routine and they stopped it. So one evening, Shivaji Maharaj made Hiroji sleep in his bed and he asked Madari Mehta to massage his feet. Then Shivaji Maharaj and Sambhaji Raje, they hid themselves in two of those many baskets that were going out. The baskets were supposed to contain sweets and they were allowed to pass unchecked. At a place previously fixed already by Shivaji, Shivaji Maharaj and Sambhaji Raje got out of the baskets. Their faithful servants were waiting for them there, with their horses kept ready for flight so they could be ready to run away. In the meantime, Hiroji and Madari, very coolly they left that house in Agra under the pretext that they were going to see the doctor to bring some medicines for Shivaji. So the two of them risked their own life, and they made a very valuable contribution to the task of freeing Maharaj from imprisonment, or you could say to help Shivaji escape from Agra. Look at the contribution put in by his loyal Sardars. They could have got caught, something could have happened, they could have been killed instantly, but they took that risk for their Maharaj. That was their love and loyalty for Shivaji. So now, what happens? Once the emperor will come to know of Shivaji's escape, right? Yes, let's learn about that in a few minutes. Now here is a picture of Shivaji Maharaj and when he escaped from Agra. You can see the two big baskets at the side, the horses and the Sardars waiting, and Sambhaji Raje there. So this was at the prefixed place where they decided to meet. Now the emperor came to know of Shivaji's escape the next day. He was wild with rage. The Sardars were frightened now. The emperor sent spies all over the country to trace Shivaji. But all the search was in vain. Once escaped, the Maratha lion was never again caught in the emperor's net. In disguise, Shivaji Maharaj started towards Maharashtra. He left his young son Sambhaji Raje behind in a safe place at Mathura and in due course reached Rajgarh. Jijamata was overjoyed to see her son Shivaji safe and back home. 2 months later, Sambhaji Raje also arrived safely at Rajgarh. In this way, with great skill and daring, Shivaji gave a slip to the emperor and returned to the safety of his kingdom in the year 1966. I would like you all to read lesson number 13. When we meet in the live class, I will just show you another video and explain this lesson. Till then, stay at home, stay safe, but please do read lesson number 13 and enjoy this daring escape of Shivaji from the emperor.